a brand new Skytrak app version 3.3, all new updates, new tools, and a brand new randomizer feature that you're going to absolutely love. Kick up your feet for a few minutes, hang out with me, and check it out. Hi again and welcome back. Rolling here with Garage Golf, where we provide extraordinary golf info for the extraordinary golfer. Thanks again for hanging out with me. Looking forward to do this video with you guys. Want to go over a few features that Skytrak just came out with. And let's be honest, no other simulator out there has gone through the updates and the features month by month and year by year that Skytrak has been doing. So you got to give them a big thumbs up for that. You got to give them a big shout out because they're really working hard to continuously update their products. So it's definitely something that we're excited to see. As a Skytrak user, I'm loving it. And every feature that they come out with has been really cool, really something interesting. There's still some things we need to work on. We'll get to that in the end. But for now, I want to walk you through some of the features and kind of give you an idea on what Skytrak has been doing. All right, so first up on the list, and this is the meat and potatoes of this update here, we're talking about the Randomizer feature and the save presets. I'm going to take you right into it, let you take a look at it and see what exactly that randomizer will do for your golf game. Okay, so to check out the randomizer and the presets, what we want to do is we want to go into the game improvement category, select that, and let's go now into, say, skills assessment, for example. I want to show you how you can set up either the preset or the randomizer for your needs and what you're looking to do. So one of the first upgrades that they did was the presets. So you can now go in here and select different presets such as Skytrak long, mixed long shots, medium, short, or mixed short, or the randomizer. So let's start off with one of the presets that they have, for example, and I'll show you what it does. We can go into, say, Skytrak medium shots. As you see, we have the number of targets that we want. So let's say, for example, we want 5 targets. So now we have 5 targets, and we can pick how many shots per target we want. So let's say, for example, 3. You can only pick a minimum of 3. One thing I'd like to see maybe for the next update is be able to hit 1 shot only from each individual distance and go through that process. Because as you start to hit 3 of the same shots, it gets a little more, obviously, less random and obviously more routine. So I like to keep it random and every shot be different. I'd like that to be one of the next updates possibly. And then from there, however many shots you want to select. So for example, 5 targets and we'll take the best 3 per shot. So that's one way to do it. The other way is you can completely go in there and randomize the shot. So we click on Randomizer, and let's say we want to take, for example, let's go with 8 shots. So we'll pick 8 shots. We'll go in there. We can pick the number of targets. Obviously it's 8. We're going to take the same 3 shots per target, and the best shot selected will go with 3. Now, if you really want to fine tune it, we can go in there and go anywhere between, say, for example, we'll go with 100 as a minimum, all the way up to, say, a maximum of, let's say 210, for example, and select that. And basically what we can now do is click on Generate, and you'll see the shots have been randomized. If you don't like what you see there, click it again. It'll change. So you can randomize your different shots, go throughout the process, and as you see, everything gets selected for you there. You can then go into your skills assessment, test, take the random shots. Again, I think it'd be a little bit better if you can take 1 shot, per different yardage. That would be a really cool thing to do, because taking 3 shots gets a little more repetitive. I'd like to see it being able to select 1 shot. I think that'd be a better option. But that's one thing that we can maybe work on for the next one. Then we would hit apply, and we would get started with that process. So that's going into that randomizer feature. It's going to keep things a lot more, obviously, unique for you and go through different shots without you having to pre-select everything. I think it's a really good tool and something we'll be definitely using moving forward. All right, so next up on the list, dynamic handicap and distance to the pin for each shot as we go through the game improvement, skills assessment, things of that nature. Let me take you back to the screen and show you exactly what we're looking at. Okay, so here we are back on the skills assessment that we just set up with that randomizer tool. You'll see 2 new categories on the screen: target, distance. You'll see that, obviously. We'll see distance to the pin and dynamic handicap. As you take each shot and go through this process, you're now going to see the distance to the pin per shot, as well as a dynamic handicap that's set up per shot as well. So what it will do is as you go through your 3 shots, it will create a dynamic handicap for you as you go through each shot individually, and then a final dynamic handicap for you in the end as well as giving you the distance to the pin for each unique shot as you go throughout this assessment and walk you through that process. And so what that dynamic handicap is essentially for is, let's say you take 40 shots as you go throughout this process. It's going to give you a dynamic handicap for each shot, walk you through it, give you a number for each individual shot, and in the end, it's going to tally a handicap. And what that basically is going to assess for you is going to be as close as it can be to your realistic golf handicap if you were to go out and play around the golf. So it's going to give you a really good idea on what your golf handicap would be. So if you go through the skills assessment, you'll be able to have a better idea if you have not yet created a handicap for you or gone through the different rounds it's necessary to create a handicap. You'll at least have a better idea as to what your true handicap may be out there on the golf course. So I think that's a really cool feature. Definitely something that is going to be helpful for people, especially people getting started off, for the first time in golf or through the golf simulator side of things as well. So even though I'm not new at golf, I still love the new randomizer feature and the game improvement category, all the presets, because I struggle with golf like everybody else. It gets pretty bad sometimes. Just how bad?
I keep shaking all my golf balls to the right. It makes me so mad, I want to fight. I'll keep practicing with my Skytrak all night. I'll get better in the end.
Golf can be pretty frustrating. Stupid ball. Anyways, moving on. Okay, so moving on to the next category and the next update that Skytrak's done. Let's go ahead and move on to the challenges and specifically events. So events is something really cool that they just did. So let's say you want to pick a challenge, for example, and I'll take you through this on the computer in just a minute, but let's go ahead and go into, say, a long drive challenge, and you have a bunch of people over and you want to do a long drive competition now on the Skytrak app. You can create an event. You can add as many people as you want to that event. As far as I'm aware, you can add as many people as you want. Go through that process and create a leaderboard and who's winning throughout that process. So it's really cool. Let me walk you through it, and then I'll actually show you an event here in person. Okay, so now if we want to create an event, we'll go ahead and go into the challenge category here. And as we talked about, everybody likes longest drive. So let's set up a long drive event just to give you an idea on how it would work. So going into the long drive event, of course, single player, multiplayer, or we can actually just create a true event for the long drive, which is what we want to do here. So what you want to do is label that event. In this case, Garage Golf Long Drive. And we'll go ahead and click on Next. And now you have the ability to pick how many shots you want per round, if you want consecutive shots or alternate shots as you go through the process, and then top score. So we just saw the long drive competition on TV a few days ago, so we're going to keep it as similar to that as possible. And we'll go ahead and pick, for example, the range with medium, and then we can go ahead and start a game. So now when you start the game, you'll go ahead and create a player that you want to add. So in this case, I'll add myself, of course, to start with. And we'll go ahead and click on Start Player. Now, you see the long drive setup. That's basically very similar to what you would see on TV. Really cool setup that has a long drive challenge, signs, everything really unique. I'll hit 3 shots now, and I'll show you that. And then I'll show you how to add additional players to the event so you can go through that process also. All right, so as you see, I already have 2 shots in. One really weak one at 220, one out of bounds. Let me hit one more shot for you. I'll show it to you as far as what you see on the screen as well, and give you a little bit of idea as far as how we add the additional players to the event also. Hopefully you stay in bounce there. Okay, so not my best, but I wanted to give you an idea. So I've hit my 3 shots now. Let me take you back to the computer. I'll show you how to add additional players to that event. Okay, so here you see Roland on the leaderboard, first position right now, because nobody else has hit yet. And those are some weak drives, but I'll take it for now. And you see my distance to the pin, or in this case, my furthest drive, 231 yards. So now if we want to add another player, for example, just click up here. Let's go ahead and add Danny, for example. And all you would do is click on Start Player. He would hit his 3 shots, and you can go, you can make several rounds of this. You can have people go as many times as they like if you wanted, and basically give you a scoreboard and a leaderboard at the end to see who's done the best on the competition. So I think it's really neat. It gives you the ability to add more players and go throughout the process, but definitely a new feature that I'm liking a lot. Now moving into one of the next updates, we're talking about shot order and scoring for challenges. So I'm going to set up a new challenge. I'll show you the shot order and the scoring. Also have a leaderboard very similar to what we saw with the event, but it's a little bit different, so I'll walk you through that as well, let you see it and see what you think. Okay, so now I'm going to walk you through 3 more updates that Skytrak has done. And it's going to be, 2 of them will be in this challenge category that we'll select. So for example, let's go ahead now and go into closest to the pin. It's another challenge category. And I'm going to show you a few things that they've done. So we'll go into single player this time just to give you an idea. And then we'll go ahead and pick shots per round again, if it's right-handed or left-handed, and the top score. Here's one of the newest updates that they've done. So if you're a Skytrak user, you know the frustration of trying to pick the distance to the pin, for example, missing it, going back and forth I'm aiming for 150. So one of the newest things that they did was they added a way to fine-tune the slider in regards to the yardage. So now if I wanted to pick, say, 150, for example, I would go ahead and select it up or down here in order to be able to give you an idea as far as picking out exact distances and what you want. So for now, for this test, I'm going to go to, say, 100 yards, and we can go up or down, obviously, with that slider. So that's one of the newest upgrades that they've done, which is really cool. I like that. Definitely makes it easier for sure, Skytrak. All right, so let's go ahead and start the game here in this case. And as you see, we now have 3 shots at the bottom left-hand corner, and we also have the top 3 scores based upon the date for this category. So it's going to be something that will then save, I believe, as you go each time and come back into here, we'll have this data saved, which is nice. It's a nice feature. So I'll go ahead and hit 3 shots for you. We're going to hit shots from 100 yards. It will go ahead and take the scores and then give us an idea as far as what we're doing. And I'll show you the leaderboard at the end to give you an idea on how the scoring works as well. All right, so I've now hit 2 shots. I hit the green on the first one. I missed the green short on the second one. One thing I do notice, though, we're doing closest to the pin. I don't see a pin. Where is it? I don't see it on my screen. Let me know if you see it on yours, but there's no pin there, and it's definitely something that you want to see a pin if you're aiming closest for the pin. So I don't know if that's a bug we need to work out. Let me take another shot and make sure that there's no pin there, but I'm pretty sure I'm not seeing one. Definitely not seeing a pin. Okay, so besides the disappearing pin that's not there, this kind of gives you an idea as far as scores and how it will score you based upon what you're doing in regards to your shots. So I took 3 shots. As you see, the closest to the pin that I had, wherever it is, was 19 foot 9 inches. So I don't know where the pin was. I didn't really know where to aim for. So obviously that's a pretty glaring flaw we got to work on as well. But other than that, it kind of gives you an idea as far as the score. But obviously, for closest to the pin, you're going to need to see a pin. So I'm thinking that might just be a minor bug that they'll do as far as an update. But definitely something that needs to be addressed, I feel. All right, so summing up the upgrade to Skytrak version 3.3, here's my thoughts on it. There's 2 things we hadn't gone over yet. Number 1 are miscellaneous bug fixes, different things that they have to work on in regards to the application that they've done. So we don't see those, are more behind the scenes stuff. The other thing is they've supposedly added an application or file to the application that will allow you to now save your preferences for the app. So one thing I don't like is every time they do an update to it, go from 3.3 to 3.4, for example, I have to go back in here. I have to adjust my offset because, as you see, my screen isn't necessarily right in front of the area where I hit. So I modify that a bit. I would like to see it if I save it. I don't know exactly how that feature works quite yet. If there's anybody out there that knows how that feature works, send me a comment, let me know. But that's definitely something I want to be able to do, so next time they upgrade it, I don't have to go back through and modify that stuff again, because everything gets changed. My view when I hit a shot, that changes. I like the follow ball view. It goes back to the first person. The offset, that changes a bit as well. So I'd like to see that get worked on. My thoughts for some improvements. So we talked about that at the beginning. There's two things I really would love to see Skytrak work on. Number one, the greens. They're not realistic at all, in my opinion. They need some work. As you might see on the closest to the pin, for example, when the ball lands, it doesn't roll out, it doesn't do anything. It just sits there. It stops right there as if you're throwing a dart, or it will roll back a few feet and that's it, and just kind of just shoots there. It doesn't actually look very realistic as far as a ball that would roll on a regular green. So I'd love to see the greens get modified a bit to get worked on so we get more realistic feel. Now, speaking of greens, my number 2 recommendation for an update I think we need to see in the future, putting. I'd love to have some putting features with the Skytrak. One of the hardest things to adjust to as a simulator user, whether you're using the application for Skytrak or any one of the simulator programs, is how to work on putting. I'd like to see some tools where you can do right to left breaks. You can place the ball anywhere on a green that you want, have it break the way you want, and work on speed and different things like that. Because obviously I'm putting here in the simulator, I'm putting to the screen, but I have some things I got to work on. I'm hitting off of a mat, for example. I like to be able to test that out and figure out distances. So one example would be, how hard do I need to hit a putt in a simulator, for example, 10-foot putt or a 15-foot putt, and work on those kind of everyday applications. Things that maybe I could take out from the simulator to an actual golf course and do some work on. So those two things I really think, if Skytrak can work on some putting aspects and also work on the greens a little bit to have them be more realistic, I think we got a really good tool. I like using the Skytrak application for working on shots and just doing driving range stuff more than I like using any of the other simulators that are out there. I think it looks nicer, it's nice and clean, it saves all my data, I can go back to it later, so these are all things I'm liking, but we got to work on the greens, we got to maybe add some putting features. I really would love to be able to putt and work on different aspects of that, especially with the simulator. But overall, Skytrak, I think you're doing a great job. Definitely things that you're definitely working in the right direction. I think you're offering Skytrak users more than any other company out there that are offering any kind of updates, features that they're doing. Every few months we're seeing updates from you guys. I'm really appreciating that as a Skytrak user, as a Skytrak owner. So big thumbs up to that. Really appreciate what you guys are doing. I'm liking what we're seeing. I like that you listen to feedback from other people. If there's something out there that you guys would like to see, let me know. Write it in the comment section. Let us know what you'd like to see as far as a feature for the next Skytrak application. Give us your input. Let us know your thoughts. As always, we really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. If you liked our video, please give us a big thumbs up. That really, really helps us out. If you have not yet done so, please subscribe to our channel. That's definitely something we'd like to keep pumping out these videos to you. But again, we appreciate you hanging out with us, spending a few minutes of your day today. As always, thanks again for hanging out with us, and keep on golfing.